Hello and welcome back to another Chateau de Bruges video. Before we start, I just wanted to say a massive thank you to Charles for spending the last week here. He's worked really hard. He's done so much around the chateau. He's really made a difference. He's going home now for a rest, but I'm sure that he'll be back soon to make sure that he's helping us around the chateau once again.
Don't forget to get your questions into us for next week's question and answer session. Post those in the sticky comment that Jake's made and we'll be sure to answer as many of your questions as we can in a week's time.
Stay tuned for us to show you some of our original features at the chateau, including some of our wells and the greenhouse.
So, as well as the Q&A video that we've got coming very soon, we're also going to show you some other bits around the chateau before we get into our renovation videos. So we're going to show you some of our hidden treasures that we've got lying around the chateau. We're also going to show you bits around the local village and the local town. And we're also going to find out and then share with you as much of the history of Chateau de Bruges as we can. Are we ready to get going, guys? Yeah. Let's go. Let's try and all walk in the same direction this time. Follow Grandma, there we go. Grandma started the trend. Wicked. And cut.
So I'm currently standing at one of the 3 wells that we have around the grounds of the chateau. This is the largest of the 3 and we think this one would have been not only filled with water but would have had a hand pump contraption on here where they would have come, put their bucket on this railing and hand pump the water into there. At the moment it's dry. We have found where the water source is, but there's a split in the pipe, so it's been turned off at the stopcock. So it would be great in the future to reinstate this, have some water in here and then maybe even turn it into a water feature, or if we can find an old hand pump at a bricant or something, put one of those on, even if it's just for aesthetics. But well 1 of 3. So this is well 2 of 3, just next door to the first well that we saw. It's been covered over by this big metal sheet just for health and safety reasons, but it does have water in there. So if I show you, hopefully you can hear this. That was the stone and not the microphone, thankfully. So that has got water in there. So we don't know at the moment whether we're allowed to utilise that water for use around the grounds. Believe there is some stipulation as to when you can't use well water, so that's something we need to find out, but it's a fully working well. Not sure what the source is. I'm hoping it's a stream because it seems to remain at a fairly constant height of water level, so I think it's either the water table or there's a stream running right the way through the chateau and it goes down to well number 3, which is a bit further down the garden. This is well number 3 of 3. It's a little bit further down the bottom of the grounds and it's the smallest well out of the 3. Again, it's been covered just again for, I believe, health and safety reasons, but this is a fully working well. It has water in there and we have actually installed our bilge pump, and I've used it to fill up our above ground swimming pool, which you'll see later on, and the water is absolutely crystal clear. So this will remain. We may end up building this up a little if we can find some reclaimed stones that would make it look nice and turn it into a more attractive well, because this is going to form part of our pool area, outside eating area and patio area. So 3 wells on the property. Hope you enjoyed looking at them.
This is our courtyard area then. We are currently using it as our car park. We have our cars stored out here, but we think long term this space will be good for parking cars for events. But it's actually quite a beautiful space. The sun sets in the west and it stays over this part of the chateau all day, and it's actually one of the last places that gets the sun in the evening. So it is a really nice space, although it is currently the car park. Behind me we have our only current entrance. It's quite a small, narrow entrance for cars to come in, which we believe was the servant entrance. Later in the video, Charles is actually going to explain where we would like our new entrance to be and what that's going to look like over there. So we have our entrance, we have our courtyard. Last couple of things I'm going to speak to you about is this beautiful cart in the centre of the courtyard. We found it in one of the outbuildings. Charles found it in one of the outbuildings, and we thought it was a beautiful decorative piece to put in the centre of the courtyard. I have reclaimed the cart slightly by giving it a lick of paint, trying to match the doors on the outbuildings, the nice rusty green. Hopefully the rusty part will come in time. We found some little cart sides as well. Not quite sure if those ones are the exact fit for this cart. We don't believe they are, so they might be likely to change. And lastly, we've just decorated it with a couple of plant pots just to make it look a little bit more welcoming and a little bit more inviting, because this can become quite a dull space in the sense that there's not really much going on. And I think long term as well, we'd like to recover the whole part of, what's it called again? The courtyard. We'd like to recover the courtyard with stones again, get rid of all the weeds and just make it look a little bit more presentable.
We do have two bells attached to the chateau here, one being quite a lot larger than the other. Now, we don't know either of their original uses, so if you've got any ideas, please do let us know. What we're using it for at the moment is our lunch bell. Obviously, you can imagine we're all spread around in different areas of the chateau and the garden. And the way to let other people know that lunch is ready is by giving the bell a good ring. So what I'm going to do now is just show you what that sounds like. It's a little bit fragile, so we've got to be very careful, but I'm hoping you heard that nice and clearly. And that does echo around the entire garden, so you can hear it no matter where you are in the chateau. And like I said, we might have people flocking this way very soon for lunch.
As you can see, we have a tractor. It should be a tractor mower actually, but Jake had it for a few months before he decided that he'd had enough of cutting the grass and give up the ghost. So when I arrived, I stripped it all down, and we decided between us all that the mower part of it wasn't worth repairing. It had too much damage done to it, which turned out a pretty good bet really, because it's working well as a tractor. It's done a lot of hard work up to yet. I'm in the processes of spraying it up a different colour. It was red all over. I've now made it black so it matches the trailer. And what we're going to do, we're going to get stickers made up for the side of the tractor saying CHATEAU de BRUGES tractor.
Okay, so around the chateau we actually have a driveway that we intend to use for the guests to come in and therefore drive around the chateau and get a view, a 360 view as they come in. And now what surrounds that driveway is a beautiful row of massive, great big trees. Now they essentially, go on.
I propose we all go down to the lake for lunch, and then whilst down there Jake can get some shots of the lake.
Sounds good. I'm just going to video the next bit, so just radio silence please.
Okay.
So where did I get to?
You said beautiful row of trees.
Okay. So surrounding...
I will maintain radio silence. Oh, shut up then.
He's got to be watching me somewhere. So surrounding the driveway we have a beautiful row of very, very big trees, and they create a perimeter that go around the entirety of the chateau. It makes a really nice feel as you're driving or walking through that driveway. So what's really nice is when the sun's really shining down and it's coming down and through the trees, you get that dappled sunlight coming down onto the ground. And now that, while that looks really good on camera, it looks even better in person.
Sorry. Okay, so we are now at the fountain, and it's quite stunning, especially right in front of our beautiful chateau. We're very, very lucky to have it. It does need a good clean and a bit of a freshen up, but it didn't look so stunning before. It actually was covered in weeds and overgrown bushes, so much to the point that my dad, when he came, didn't even realise we had a fountain until we uncovered it, and he went, "Oh, where was that?" So yeah, we have uncovered this beautiful masterpiece. So we dug out, myself, Jake and Jenny, when she was here a couple of weeks ago, we dug out all of the bottom. We took out all the sludge and the horribleness that was inside of the fountain pot itself. That was not very fun, and it did smell quite a lot. And then within that, we found the parts that have broken off of the fountain, so we're able to put that back together one day and restore it fully. On top of the bowl, it is slightly tilted, so again, that's something to look at that we need to fix. But that was full of soil, so again, we just dug all of that out and popped it in a pile over the wall. Other than that, we need to obviously clean it up, make it look a bit more presentable, and one day this should be a lovely feature in front of our beautiful chateau.
Okay, welcome. And what you're seeing here, we believe, was the old gates, and Daniela would have mentioned in the courtyard that we're looking to reinstate more formally the entrance into the chateau. Two lovely pillars either side would have had a much bigger opening, and we can see that this wall is only partially going across there, which implies the gates were once here. So we're looking to reinstate this and then bring the drive round to the front of the chateau. So that's something to watch out for. So one of the things we inherited with the chateau was lots and lots of trees. Now, I'm not against trees, but the downside to them were that they were completely hiding the chateau. Now, whether the previous owners had done that because they were trying to avoid any tax, I wouldn't like to speculate, but we wanted the chateau to be not only seen from the lake and from the road, but also we wanted a view out of the chateau into this lovely countryside. So we've already started taking down some of the trees. Now you can see here a conifer or fir tree. There's one just on this side as well, and they were designed to grow up into an arch, which in theory would have looked nice, but it completely blocked the view out from the chateau and the view in from people seeing the chateau. So we've started to take this tree down. We've got a little bit more work to do on that one, and you'll see also that we've taken down the tree on the opposite side with a little bit more work to do on there. So that's the first of the trees that we've started to fell. So this is the biggest tree that I've felled in the garden so far. Not only was it completely in the wrong place, because again it blocked the view and did nothing for the surroundings of the garden, but it was also, as you can see from the cuttings and things that we've taken off, completely dead. So it had to come down before it fell down. So this was a job this week. We took this down. You can see the stump there. It came down exactly where I wanted it to, and it's now been chopped up. We're waiting for the professional tree loggers to come along, and maybe, hopefully, if they say it's okay, we'd like to reuse this and make a dining room table. So this magnificent, massive tree here, unfortunately needs to come down. It's completely doing nothing for the garden other than blocking the view again. So this will be my next tree that I challenge. Thankfully it's already got the lean on it, which will take it in that direction. So in terms of chopping it down, it should be a fairly straightforward job, but I may wait until Charles's next visit before I tackle that one. So I'm standing on the stump of a huge tree that once would have stood in the grounds. This was already down by the time we got here, and by the looks of it, from the way that we can see the roots have upended themselves on this side and the way that the stump's leaning, I suspect this was probably fallen over on its own and probably taken out some of that tree on its way down. So the stump is still here. You can imagine how big this tree was. It must have been absolutely huge. So another big tree here. It's quite healthy. It's just a bit of a peculiar shape. I can only imagine that when the massive tree, which we've just got the stump for, fell down, which it looks like it did, it took part of this tree with it, which is why they've cut it off on this side but left the two long shoots going up. It's a really peculiar shape, and also it's blocking out a lot of the views again from the chateau. So my plan here is to take off the two larger shoots that you see, just to bring it into a nice pollarded kind of shape, and then it will stay as it is from that point forward. So this is the biggest standing tree left on the grounds of the chateau. Hopefully you can get an idea of the size of this beast. not sure as to the health of it. It hasn't really blossomed or done anything in the time that we're here. So I'm a little bit worried that it's dead. It has been chopped before and there's some lead flashing and bits and pieces up there to try and protect it. But our plans for this are hopefully to erect a tree house into the carcass of this tree for, you know, a glamping experience and a tree housing experience. So that's our plan for this tree. It's certainly not going to come down unless we get advice otherwise. But can you imagine how old that must be? Fantastic tree.
Here we are in this amazing historic glass house. It's really lovely, the shape. The sun's on it all day. It's really beautiful, and when it's restored it'll be a magnificent sight. We've started to grow in some grow bags, 2 different types of lettuces that we planted just a couple of days, and they're doing very well. We also have some strawberries in pots, and we have some tomato plants that we bought, I'm afraid to say, because it's too late in the season to plant them. But we've got one that's turning red. Don't know if you can see this ladder. It's on a pole so that it can be moved up and down the greenhouse to reach anything that's on the shelves. And these big pipes on this side used to keep the greenhouse warm in the winter when we couldn't get any sun.
We've tried to create what we think might have been in the 1600s. If you look behind you, you will see that the greenhouse is just there, and it would have been quite a big event, the greenhouse, because as you see above it there is some railings, and that is an actual viewing point for the gentry of the house to have a look over the greenhouse and see what the gardener was planting and whether he was doing the right job or not. Very late in the year, I must say, for planting anything, but we've done our best to plant onions, everything really, courgettes, we got radishes in there, we got cucumbers, we've got a variety of things. We've got a few lettuce down the bottom apart from the ones in the greenhouse. We've got broccoli there, which is growing quite well, and we've actually chucked in 2 old tomato plants that are well late in the year. We've got parsnips growing there as well. At the moment the radish have only been in 3 days, and they've sprung up already, which is a good sign. So that leaves us in good hope for the rest of the plant. We'll start off with this little patch, see how it goes. Next year we can improve upon it, put things in at the right time when they should be put in, and perhaps make it larger. We've got so much area to expand on, we could have it quite a big garden in the end.
So this is the pool that we inherited when we bought the chateau. We knew at the time of purchase that the pool wasn't any good, but we've since uncovered it. It was holding water, but it was very green and mouldy. We've emptied it and cleaned it, refilled it, to find out that it was leaking from the vacuum hose there, which is why you can see, or maybe obviously on the camera, that the sides have concaved in. It's obviously leaked and ruined the structure of the fiberglass shell. So rather than put any time or effort into trying to make this good, we've decided it's not the pool that we want in long term for the chateau, so we're not going to waste any time getting it up and running. This is just going to come out. We're going to extend this area to have a bigger pool with a sunbathing area on this side, and then an outdoor kitchen and dining area up where the camera is behind you guys at the moment. So not much going to happen in this area for probably this season. This will probably be maybe a winter job to get it ready for next season. So that's what we've got at the moment for this pool. I'm going to show you the pool that we are using at the moment. So just for our own use throughout this this season, just for something for us to relax in after a hard day's work, we've got an above ground pool, which is more than suitable for us. This is filled and up and running. The sun's heating it nicely. It's currently about 24-25 degrees, which is very refreshing on a hot summer's day. So not what we want long term, but certainly serves us in the short term. So part of the grounds, as we started to uncover, we found that this area here was heavily overgrown, and closer inspection you can see that this is what was once an old pond. Again, there's another one which we're going to show you. Now, we suspect that it's a pond, even though there is vegetation growing inside it, because we have what appears to be a levelling soakaway that's here, original to the pond. So a lovely feature that we found to be reinstated and considered, but we found a stone pond. So let me just go and show you a matching pair. Most of what you've seen in the chateau, there's two sides to the garden, and it has historically had a symmetry between the two garden main lawn areas. And as you can see coming through here, and yes, as you look at those two trees, we all agree it would look fantastic to have Graham sitting in there in his hammock. But we've got a second discovery here, once again heavily overgrown, a lovely elliptical stone walled area that would have had another pond. Again, we've got to question whether the ponds will be reinstated, but at the moment we've found a lovely garden feature.
Okay, so we've come to my favourite bit of the garden, which is the avenue that we have here. It's absolutely sensational. It's not gun barrel straight, but it's as straight as it can be. The previous owners didn't look after the hedges particularly well, so when we got here they were a little bit out of shape. There were a few dead areas that we needed to try and let grow out. We've got 18 of these very, very large ones either side, and in order to actually get to the top, as well as having a 9-foot long hedge cutter, I needed to stand on top of the truck to make sure that I could get to the top and round the tops off. So that took me a few days to do that, but I'm sure you'll agree they're looking absolutely incredible now. So thank you for watching another Chateau de Bruges video. We really hope you've enjoyed having a look around the grounds today. We've made our way down to the local cafe for a spot of lunch. This is the cafe down by the lake, which you will see lots more of coming up in our future videos. Don't forget to submit your questions for us in the pinned comment down below for our Q&A that we're going to be doing for you next week. And again, as always, don't forget to like, subscribe and click that notification bell to make sure that you get notified of our future videos. Until next time, see you later. Bye.